The burger joint owns and operates 6 burger outlets in and around Boston. They have the following corporate budget for next year. So basically, Burger Joint is a chain which is in the business of selling burgers, and it is in the process of budgeting for the next year. So the budget that it has arrived at is that they are going to make a revenue of $10 million next year with a fixed cost of $1.7 million, and the variable cost will be $8.2 million. Now consider yourself as a manager of the company and perform sensitivity analysis to determine the impact of the following changes on the budgeted operating income. So now, as a manager of the company, you are performing analysis to find out how the budgeted operating income will change in case there is a variation in the revenue, fixed cost, variable cost that you have budgeted for next year. So the first change that we have to analyze is a 10% increase in fixed cost and 10% increase in units sold. Second is a 5% increase in fixed cost and 5% decrease in the variable cost. So let's perform the sensitivity analysis and find out the impact of these changes on the budgeted operating income. So the information given to us is that the budgeted revenue for next year is $10 million. The fixed cost is expected to be $1.7 million. And the variable cost is expected to be $8.2 million. So now we have to analyze the impact of the change in fixed cost and the number of units sold on the budgeted operating income. So first, let's find out what is the expected budgeted operating income based on these numbers. Now the budgeted operating income is nothing but the operating income expected based on the budgeted numbers. And we know that operating income is nothing but profit. And profit in its simple terms is equal to the selling price minus the cost price. So the budgeted operating income is equal to the total revenue minus the total cost. So total revenue is nothing but the number of units sold multiplied by the unit selling price. Or in other terms, the total amount that you are getting after selling the material. And total cost is the addition of the fixed cost and the variable cost. Or in other terms, what are you investing in order to produce the units which you are selling. So this is equal to total revenue minus total cost is the addition of fixed cost and the variable cost. So this is equal to total revenue is 10 million minus fixed cost is 1.7 million plus variable cost is 8.2 million. So this is equal to 10 million minus 7 plus 2 is 9 and 8 plus 1 is 9, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So this is equal to $100,000. So based on the budgeted numbers of revenue, fixed cost and variable cost, the budgeted operating income is expected to be $100,000. Now first we have to find out the impact on this budgeted operating income when there is an increase of 10% on fixed costs and 10% increase in units sold. So basically the fixed cost is increasing by 10% and the number of units sold are also increasing by 10%. Now we know that revenue is nothing but the number of units sold multiplied by the unit selling price. So this number of units sold is now increasing by 10%. So we have to multiply this by 1.1. So basically the overall revenue increases by 10%. Similarly, the variable cost is the multiplication of number of units sold and the unit cost. And this number of units sold is increasing by 10%. So again, here we have to multiply this by 1.1. Now here we are assuming that if we are increasing the sales or the number of units which are selling in the market, then we have to produce that many numbers in our production facility, and therefore the cost of production is also going to increase. So now let's find out the impact on the budgeted operating income. So BOI1 will be equal to, now the formula remains the same, total revenue minus the total cost. So the total revenue now in the new case is 1.1 times the revenue. So 1.1 multiplied by 10 million minus the fixed cost, which has increased by 10%. So we have to multiply this number by 1.1. So 1.1 multiplied by 1.7 million plus the variable cost, which has also increased by 10%. So 1.1 multiplied by 8.2 million. So this is equal to 11 million minus 1,870,000 plus 902,000. So this is equal to 11 million minus 10.89 million, and this is equal to $110,000. So basically, if we increase the fixed cost by 10% and we also increase the units sold by 10%, then the budgeted operating income increases by $10,000, because earlier it was $100,000 and now it is $110,000. Now I would like to explain one simple concept here. So let's assume that this total revenue is $5 and the total cost is $3. So the operating income is 5 minus 3, which is $2. Now let's say both the revenue and the cost increases by 10%. So this will become 5.5 and this will become 3.3. So the new budgeted operating income will become 2.2. So this is just a simple indication for you to calculate mentally whether the budgeted operating income will increase or not if the total revenue and total cost are increasing by the same percent. Now let's take the second case, which is an increase of 5% in fixed cost and decrease of 5% in variable cost. So let's find out what will be the impact of that change on the budgeted operating income. So the next analysis is for a case where there is an increase of 5% in fixed cost and 5% decrease in variable cost. So basically what this means is that the fixed cost, which is $1.7 million, has to now be multiplied by 1.05, indicating a 5% increase in the fixed cost. Now the variable cost is the number of units sold multiplied by the unit variable cost, which is represented by a small c. And now here we are saying that the variable cost is decreasing by 5%. So this is decreasing by 5%. So basically we have to multiply this by 0.95, indicating a decrease of 5% in the variable cost. So let's now find out the revised budgeted operating income based on this change. So let's put this as BOI 2, and this is equal to, now the formula remains the same, total revenue minus the total cost. Now here the revenue is not changing, so revenue is the same. So $10 million minus the total cost, which is an addition of fixed cost and variable cost. Now here the fixed cost is going to be multiplied by 1.05. So 1.05 multiplied by 1.7 million plus the variable cost, which is now decreasing by 5%. So multiply by 0.95. So 0.95 multiplied by 8.2 million. So this is equal to 10 million minus 1785000 plus 779000. So this is equal to 10 million minus 9575000. So this is equal to $425,000. So basically in this case, our fixed cost increased by 5% while the variable cost decreased by 5%. However, since the fixed cost is much lesser than the variable cost, an increase of 5% in the fixed cost is still lesser than the decrease of 5% in the variable cost. So thereby the overall total cost has decreased from what it was originally budgeted. And because the total cost has decreased, our budgeted operating income has now increased. See, the 5% increase in fixed cost means an increase of $85,000, whereas a decrease of 5% in variable cost means a decrease of $410,000. So therefore the total cost has reduced by $325,000, which means that the total budgeted operating income will increase by $325,000, which is what has happened. So 100,000 was the original BOI, and plus 325,000 becomes 425,000, and that is what we got here. So this is how you can analyze the impact of increase in fixed cost and decrease in variable cost on the budgeted operating income.